So with that, I can't wait for Echolands. My last question is, as of May 20, 2021, according to the Hollywood Reporter, you are midway through issue 7. I
Yeah.
assume you're more than a little midway through issue 7 because that was 2 months ago. Does, does the
uh,
yeah.
I think I was just starting issue 7 when we did that. They published that right after we did the interview.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm still in the middle of issue 7. And issue 7 and 8, there's parts of it that are insanely time consuming. There's a a sequence at the end of issue 6 that without giving away any spoilers, what I'm doing there stylistically is very particular to one of the characters. And those pages are taking me nearly 2 weeks per set of for 2 pages.
Oh,
So they're
wow.
very time consuming. So there's huge parts of issues because it's so time consuming. We ended up kind of changing our tactic on the way we wrote those issues, actually, because originally those issues were going to be completely immersed in that style. Now, after doing a few pages of it, I was like, no, this eats up too much time. We have to find a way to break it up. And so we inserted scenes that weren't originally going to be there, so we could break it up, stuff that can be drawn a little bit quicker. But yeah, so issue 7 and 8, there's sequences that are just crazy time consuming. They're like, 100% fully rendered.
So to everyone watching, if you thought that spread we showed was super detailed, wait till issues 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Does the book have a definite end?
We know we're going with the story, but we don't know when we'll get there. We're keeping ourselves open. We didn't want to give ourselves a definitive time frame to get to where we want to go, which is probably a good thing because it allows us to explore things that really should be explored, like with some of the other characters and things like that we hadn't considered. Like there's one of the characters, this thing happens to one of the characters and they end up on their own trajectory from everyone else, but plays an important role later. So there's parts that we've come up with that we hadn't originally intended to write, where we follow that character in different scenarios, stuff like that. So, and so, it's one of those things. Hopefully it's successful enough and we'll be able to tell our story all the way through. That's going to depend a lot on people reading. They have to buy it and read it.
So you know that people will be reading it, and some of them will be waiting for the trades. So my question there is, how do you collect this into a trade?
The
Like, will it just be?
It'll be sideways.
It will be sideways.
Yeah.
Are you worried about the binding cutting off the middle of your spread?
No, because I'm going to ask for sewn binding.
Okay.
So it should open up wide. So yeah, shouldn't be any gutter loss. We haven't talked about that part yet with Image, other than I've said this is how it should be, and the people who handle that side of Image are like, yes. So
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But it's going to be a sizable book because right now, because of all the back matter stuff, I think each issue is sitting around 40 plus pages. So they're thick books. Cardstock laminated covers, I should say. So it's we did that because we kind of want the covers to work both directions, horizontally or vertically. So that's why one of the reasons why the logo reads the way it does.
And why she's diagonally placed.
What's that?
And that's why she's diagonally placed.
Correct. To my eye, it works best horizontally, her form, but it can work if you turn it this way vertically, because then it looks like she's dropping down.
Yeah.
So we did that because of concern over retailers wanting to rack the book with all the other books. So it gives them the option to do that. That's another reason why we went with thick cardstock covers, very sturdy covers. So because the staples will make the book kind of top heavy, but by using cardstock covers, hopefully the physics of that will keep the books from being weird, and they can just sit right upright like a normal comic. Whether we continue to worry about that past the first arc, I don't know. After the first arc, we might just say, no, you're just going to have, it's going to be, except that it's landscaped now. You know? Surprisingly, I haven't gotten any pushback about it. Because I know some retailers get weird when you're dealing with unusual formats. Our local retailer here, Alternate Reality Comics, he's excited over the format. So like whenever he talks to people about the book is coming out, he's like, it's going to be like this, you know? And I've been around a few times when he's talked to readership in there, and everyone seems enthused about that, which is surprising. I thought for sure I would be getting pushback at this point. We'll see when more people see what it actually is.
We're used to you working in double page spread, so it's only the natural evolution of your work. Plus, it's not like it's like Acme Novelty Library and impossible to put in a bookshelf or something.
Well, the funny thing is about the format, it's so difficult to work with, and it's a challenge every spread because you're dealing it with the dimensions being different. So you have to think differently when drawing it, and even writing it, you have to think differently. Even though it's so challenging and difficult, it has spoiled me in a way. So like when I did the Batman black and white pages last year, I was spoiled by working on Echolands. I wanted them all to be extra wide. And yeah, so it's like, it's such a strange thing. And I've done this other thing that's a short eight page thing that I can't talk about yet. That I conceived it with my wife, Wendy. And as I was drawing it and laying it out, even she was coming in and she's like, I want it to be like this. It needs to why can't it be like Echolands? So it does spoil you once you get used to how that feels, that wide, that if you're looking for something that feels broad and epic, it really suits that very well.
It's like going back to 4:3, coming from 16:9.
Yeah,
coming from widescreen. Where's the rest of the picture?
Exactly. Where it makes it the most challenging, and particularly in the writing stage, is understanding, because it's widescreen, pages technically are more squat.
Mm-hmm.
So information fits differently. Even the amount of text that's on the page fits differently. And so that becomes a big consideration. And so when we're figuring out the text placement, that's when I started, oh, why did we choose this format? Why did we do this to ourselves? It'd be so much easier. That text would fit so much easier if the page was shaped like this.
Innovating comics again. My last question is, you're definitely going to get people coming up to you asking if they can play in the world of Echolands. And is that something you would be open to in the future?
Like, what do you mean?
Like maybe, oh, like I like this one aspect of Echolands. Can I do a little spin-off series or a backup story?
Oh, I see. That's something we haven't really thought about. I mean, we've thought about other Echolands tales that we would like to tell. So like, let me backtrack a little bit and explain what I mean. So Echolands, the series, is basically going to be the entire character arc of Hope and the people that surround her. But they all come from different places. They all have backgrounds and stories that we could dive into. And easily could see ourselves, doing little spin-off tales here and there, depending on the success of the project. It could go on forever. And we've kind of designed it to be able to function that way, where it could go on forever if we wanted it to. in some form or another. As far as other creators coming in and playing around, that's something we hadn't thought about. And it wasn't so, I guess maybe because, this was so like, this is our baby.
Yeah.
And it's so particular that it was hard to picture someone else doing anything with it right now. Maybe later we could see that. But at the same time, I could also like, well, that's such a, I want to tell that story, but you never know. And I hadn't thought about other artists, even weirdly, even though it's such a mashup genre book, I hadn't thought about other artists doing their interpretations of things until we had a business meeting with Image, and Eric Stevenson was looking for different things to do with Echolands. That's how the raw cut came up. Is he was looking to what unique thing could we do for such a unique series, and so that's how the raw cut thing came about. But one of the other things he brought up is he's like, have you considered doing variant covers? Originally that was not in the cards, and he was originally not wanting variant covers either, but then for whatever reason he thought maybe we should consider it, and that opened up a whole can of worms, because I'm like, if Eric Stevenson is saying, hey, we should consider variant covers, I'm going to take that seriously, and want to make him happy with any ideas he has for support of the project. But then I started thinking about, oh, well, if we do variant covers, do I do them? Or do we bring in a different artist to do them? If we bring a different artist to do it, how do we do that? Because the series is so particular that I can't just pick any artist to draw whatever, at least not in the first arc, at the first stages. It has to be very, very consciously decided, because everything we're doing inside is so particular. Styles chosen are so particular. So I can't say, hey, can you draw core and just expect it to look right if it's not the right artist drawing core, because core's style in the book is so particular. It's a great example. But as I started to think more about it, I started thinking about different artists that I like. One of the things that Eric had said to me, he's like, if we do variant covers, he's like, think about picking artists, asking artists that, or people you like, friends of yours or acquaintances that you get along with, whatever, people that you have a connection with. So I started there, and then I started thinking about, oh, you know what? That person's style lines up with this character very nicely, even though they would handle it differently than I do. You could still see the dots connected. And so the first issue 2, we have Allison Sampson doing a variant cover. We've been able to show that, and she did core, and she was a great choice. Like when she showed me her cover, I'm like, oh, well, of course, I knew you would be the right choice. I knew it in my head, in my heart, that you were right. And every artist that we've picked for each of the variant covers has been the exact right artist for the character we're spotlighting. So like we have Mike Oming is doing one. He ended up, when he did the character that I wanted him to do, pitch perfect. It's exactly right, and we've had that luck with each of the 5 variant artists that we have. So when you think about that in relation to your question, I could easily see any of those artists coming in and doing a tale centered on that character that I pictured them being connected to, if that makes sense.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Mr. Jim Williams, I cannot wait for Echolands. I'm sure a lot of fans cannot wait for Echolands. Some of these fans include, Neil Gaiman and Debbie Harry, which has been an amazing campaign on social media that, you're showing all of these people that have read Echolands and have nothing but good things to say about it. So good luck. Congratulations. And I'm sure it will succeed even beyond your wildest expectations.
Let's hope so. It has to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.